In this video, we are talking about severe weather as we have multiple days of action in the near future. The Storm Prediction Center has issued an enhanced risk of severe weather for today and a slight risk on Thursday and Friday. Beyond that, extreme heat is on the table as abnormal temperatures span from Texas all the way to the East Coast. And of course, that pesky GFS hurricane is still there, so we have to update you on that as well. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. Yesterday, a rare enhanced risk of severe weather in the northeastern U.S. resulted in all kinds of gusty winds, big hail, and heavy rain. The foul weather kicked off on Monday afternoon and progressed through portions of New England, Virginia, and the Carolinas. The Storm Prediction Center received over 200 damaging wind reports, the highest of which being a 73-mile-an-hour wind gust in Hilton Village, Virginia. 3-inch hail was reported in Calvert County, Maryland, and there were even 2 tornado reports associated with this massive cold front. Now that that system is gone, it's time to stop looking at the past and look into the future as we have another system coming in. So as you guys know, it's time for us to start talking about the future weather. All right, let's take a look at that severe weather threat today from the Storm Prediction Center. This is an enhanced risk for places in southeastern Nebraska, southwestern Iowa, northwestern Missouri, and northeastern Kansas. This enhanced risk does include part of the Kansas City metro all the way up there into Omaha, Lincoln. This is an enhanced risk that's mostly based off of wind and hail. The tornado threat is there, but it is very low, okay? Let's take a look at the simulated radar, or the HRRR composite reflectivity, to see what the radar could look like in the future. If you want to keep up with the date and time, it's always going to be above my head in Eastern time. Keep that in mind. That's just where I am. Got a little bit of convection out there around Omaha, maybe a clap of thunder or two, some brief downpours, but no severe weather. That warm air is going to bubble up from the south and combine with a little bit of cooler air back here and then form a line or a multicellular area of storms in Nebraska down into Kansas. Some of these storms could be pretty strong. South of Sioux City, moving into Omaha around 10 p.m. this evening, all the way down into the northwestern portion of Kansas. We could see those isolated hail reports, some strong winds, and of course, maybe, just maybe, a very isolated tornado or two. These storms are going to reach their probably the strongest point of their lives around midnight or 1 a.m. as the wind threat becomes the main thing, as a little bit of a mesoscale convective system forms here, forcing that wind down the I-29 corridor towards Kansas City. And of course, there could be another broken line segment over here near Salina, Kansas. So just be weather aware tonight. Damaging winds are going to be the main threat. But of course, this is going to be a loud thunderstorm. A lot of people are going to have trouble sleeping tonight in Missouri as this thunderous wave of rain, hail, and wind moves through St. Louis by 9 a.m. in the morning. And at this time, really, the overall threat is starting to decrease quite a bit as the convection starts to wind down. But bringing it back a little bit, if we take a look at the significant tornado parameter, you can see that conditions are actually favorable for tornadic production here south of the convection. So we've actually got some turning winds with height down here. We got a lot of cape. We got a lot of energy in the air. We don't have enough forcing to break the cap. So this is another instance where we have a big old cake in the air, convective available potential energy. We call it cake here. Most of the cake is down here near Wichita in northern Oklahoma, but it can't be eaten because there's a cap in the atmosphere. There's a warm layer of air at the 850 millibar level, which means that the warm air can't rise into warm air. Does that make sense? So yeah, think of the cake and the cap as a delicious cake inside of this dish that has a lid over it, right? You've seen the cakes with the glass lid over it. You can see inside of there, but for some reason you just can't pull the lid off. That's how these storms feel, man. All right, let's go on and talk about our next big system, starting off here with the day 3 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. This is for Thursday, and it includes portions of Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, southeastern portions of South Dakota, and extreme northeastern portions of Nebraska. This is associated with the warm front on our big system that's getting ready to move through, and it looks pretty wild up here, I'm not gonna lie. Right now, it looks like all hazards are possible. This could be a tornado day. Not 100% sure on that yet, but we're watching it very closely, and of course, we'll keep you updated here. But that's the slight risk for day 3, and we have a slight risk, or a 15% risk, on day 4. This is Friday, from Michigan all the way down into Dallas, Texas. As the warm front moves through, then the cold front becomes the problem, and this is gonna sweep through and more than likely cause widespread severe weather all up and down the Midwest into the Ohio Valley and into the South, and maybe even the deep South as well. So let's track this thing on the weather models. Okay, looking at the 500 millibar wind speeds here on the Euro model, you can see by 5 p.m. on Thursday, May 19th, we got a little bit of a trough over here, a little bit of a kink that allows for a lot of bit of a lift over here in the central U.S., allowing for tons of heat, moisture, and all kinds of juicy storm ingredients to fling all the way up there into Minnesota. And of course, as a low pressure system forms forms over here, that warm frontal boundary is going to allow for the sparking of severe weather. As we go into Friday, that trough becomes a little bit more pronounced. It's a big sweeping trough all the way from the western U.S., touching portions of the Great Lakes. By 2 p.m. Friday, you can really see where a lot of that lift is located. And as a cold front forms over here, there's going to be a lot of ingredients in place for big storms to form. So that's the main driving feature of this next big storm system. We can use the instantaneous flash rate on the Euro model to kind of depict where that warm front's going to be. You can see it's got some storms showing up here in the slight risk area between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. between Thursday and Friday. Don't pay too much attention to the exact timing on this. Just the placement is mostly what we're looking at here. But as you can see, that warm front's going to stop being the problem pretty soon. And then the cold front is going to be what we're worried about on Friday. Look at that. Very big cold front here. Cool air coming on the backside, running into all that warm air. We are going to see some problems out of this as we go from Friday even into Saturday, as it does look like this is going to stall out a little bit and maybe respark storms just a little bit further to the east on Saturday. So this is another thing that we have to watch closely. Right now, we don't know a whole bunch other than the cape is in place and the moisture's in place. Look at that juicy air mass over here all the way up into Chicago, 60, 70 degree dew points. That is absolutely going to be enough to spark some thunderstorms. How bad will they be? We just don't know yet. All right, so we talked yesterday about the extreme heat in Texas and Oklahoma and in the west central plains. Wichita Falls is expected to reach 110 degrees, certainly over 100 degrees for multiple days. This is causing a lot of problems out there, and it's continuing to be a problem. As you can see, tomorrow we're going to see above average temperatures. By the way, what we're looking at here is a temperature anomaly map. The reds show temperatures above average, the greens and the blues show below average, and then those really dark reds with the browns show much above average. But let's go even further out into the future. It looks like Friday's going to be another scorcher there in the Wichita Falls region, the Red River region between Texas and Oklahoma. But look, we have good news. Thankfully, some relief is coming for this region on Saturday. Saturday into Sunday, you guys are going to cool off significantly. In fact, we have some much cooler than average temperatures moving in with that cold front that's bringing our severe weather. So anytime you have above average temperatures being pushed out of the way by below average temperatures, especially when there are extremes on both ends, whatever happens in the middle is usually pretty interesting. So that's why we're concerned about the severe weather. But on both sides, way back here in the west and the northern portion of the U.S., we're going to be quite chilly. And then look at this. Our extreme heat is transferring over to the east coast. We're almost 20 degrees above normal up there close to Ottawa and Montreal. And of course, in upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, this is going to feel absolutely hot for you guys as we get into Sunday and of course Monday. Just watch that cold front do work as this thing moves off to the east coast. I think Sunday is going to be an incredibly hot day for a lot of people on the east coast, and it's going to be a big time relief over here in the plains. Look at high temperatures on Saturday. Woo! Woo! Holy smokes, it's going to be warm across the eastern U.S. All the dark reds are 80s approaching 90, and then once you get into the browns, we're 90 approaching 100. The lighter browns are 100. Some places will have heat indexes above 100 degrees all the way up into New England. So very interesting thing happening here with our warm front and our cold front moving through. Prepare for the extreme heat. And speaking of extreme heat and fire and all that stuff, you know what else is fire? Having a really good radar app. That's fire, man. So let's go ahead and shout out today's sponsor, Radar Omega. More than just a radar app. I've been using Radar Omega on my phone since way before they sponsored the channel, and let me tell you why. It's fast, smooth, and it always just works. It's the most customizable radar app that exists, and there's nothing even close. You can not only view radar, but also satellite and model data as well, and you can view those in 3D. Also, a network of live cameras across the US allow you to see what's really happening on the ground as that storm approaches your neighborhood. Check out the links in the description to figure out why tons of Ryan Hall Y'all subscribers are now using Radar Omega as their #1 trusted source of weather information on their phone. Now, let's get back into the video. All right, let's switch over to the GFS here. This is that crazy model that's been showing the hurricane for a week now, it seems like. Been very consistent. I haven't looked at this newest model run yet, so I'm interested to see what happens with it. Let's drag this forward just a little bit here. I'm not seeing anything. Okay, here we are 60 hours out. I'm not seeing anything down there in the Gulf. Are you seeing anything down there in the Gulf? Oh, no. Oh boy, oh goodness. Okay, there it is. All right, there's nothing we can do about it now. We're just playing it through. Oh my God. Yeah, so the GFS still shows this daggone hurricane. Now it shows a strong hurricane, 966 millibar low pressure system making landfall around Louisiana, or New Orleans, I should say. Even if we do get a tropical storm or a low-end hurricane or something in the Gulf, showing this deterministic model right here is just kind of pointless because this exact scenario is not going to happen. I want to remind you guys that the ensembles aren't showing this, the Euro still is not showing this, the GFS is the only one that's continuously showed this. Does that mean that the GFS is just wrong and we're not going to see this happen? No. This could be one of the very rare times where the GFS has nailed a storm from a very distant time period. However, if that's the case, like I said, it's rare and there's no reason to worry about it right now until it gets into the National Hurricane Center's time frame. Right now, initiation for this storm is about 140 hours out, and the National Hurricane Center outlook is 120 hours. So once we get into that time frame and the National Hurricane Center has issued a cone for it, or they're watching it as a wave, then we'll start dedicating more of these videos towards watching this. But right now, I just think it's smart that we don't pay too much attention to this, because even if we do get a storm, the path that it takes, the intensity that it will have is not going to be anywhere near what the models are showing right now. Sea surface temperatures actually do support the growth of a tropical storm in the central Gulf there. But other than that, all the other models continue to show potential great amounts of vertical wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico here during this time period. So it tears it apart. Remember, hurricanes are strong storms, but they're fragile little babies. Okay, the slightest little poof of wind can like destroy your hurricane. Like it'll just fall apart. It can't handle competition. It's got to be the boss of wherever it is. And it just doesn't seem like that's going to be the case right now. So once again, guys, don't be scared, be prepared, be weather aware. And of course, if this thing looks like it's going to be a reality and we're 120 hours out, we're going to be 100% here, letting you know everything that's going on, updating you on the path and giving you plenty of warning to do whatever you need to do to take precautions. But as of right now, it is hogwash. It is baloney. It's bull hockey. And if there's anybody out there hyping it up, they're just trying to scare you. They're trying to spread fear, because fear sells and it brings in more viewers and ratings and all that stuff. Okay, so this could happen. It's a very real thing. That's why we've been talking about it, but it's extremely unlikely. So don't go ahead and start evacuating Louisiana right now. Okay, it is not needed. We will let you know when and if it is. And by the way, if this was to happen on May 29th here, this would be the earliest ever landfalling hurricane in U.S. history since we've been keeping records. I think the earliest one right now is like in June. Yeah, it was June 9th, 1966. That was the earliest ever landfalling hurricane since we've been keeping records. So this would be a record breaker. Not saying that that can't happen, but it just goes to show you how unlikely it is once again. Hey, thank you guys so much for being members. This list is getting incredibly long now. What I'm going to try to do after today's video, if you can comment within the first 30 minutes or so, I'm going to try to respond to as many comments as possible today. This is something that I don't do enough, but we are going to do it today. Okay, so leave you a comment and give me an hour or so to respond, and I won't be able to respond to everybody, but I'm going to try my best. All right, guys, make sure you slap that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.